Welcome, Metal Faithful, to a place where I am becoming comfortable, the host seat on the Metal Hammer of Doom. Hi, this is Robert Cooper, 401 Mania writer, bearded bastard, and lover of all things heavy metal. And Mark Rattledge is still on his battery recharging delay, so come back in 2 weeks, and by the end of the show, I'll announce our next one, and it's going to be something everybody's going to want to listen to, but... So this week, pretty much, I am in the chair. I've got some friends. It's going to be fun. We're going to be talking some prog metal. It's going to be great. So, just without further ado, cutting the shit, here's my first guest. He does a few podcasts of his own, as well as does some gaming stuff on 411mania.com. Welcome, Mr. Sean Garmer. How you doing, buddy?
Doing all right.
Good. Good.
Enjoying the Games podcast getting moved to Saturdays?
Oh God, I don't actually. I kind of liked it on Tuesdays because on Saturdays, like sometimes I'm not home. I'm not in till midnight. Ugh. So I don't know what's going to happen if a Games podcast starts without me. Oh yeah, things will get done.
Weird.
Things will get done. Fantasy. We won't be talking fantasy football for 45 minutes.
We'll just run out of stuff to talk about, like really quick. It'll be like an hour and a half podcast instead of 3 hours or something.
Well, hey, I am good. About filler, but I think it's going to work pretty well. It will space out my podcast nicely instead of doing all of them in like 2 days. I can do them all like in separate days. It'll be nice and fun.
Yeah, plan for that.
Yeah, and in our second co-host slot, don't know how long he could be here, but he's a buddy of mine who is so obsessed with Dream Theater, he has their logo tattooed on his arm. Please welcome a fat hobo hippie bastard, Mr. Calvin Seacreast. How you doing, buddy?
Doing good, man. About yourself?
I'm not wearing any pants, so it's shaping up to be a good evening.
All right. I'm excited to talk about some Dream Theater.
Oh yeah, because that's why I texted you with like barely any time spare. I'm like, hey Calvin, you want to talk about Dream Theater? You're like, oh, I gotta go to work, but I'm like, but Dream Theater.
Hey, that was a great idea, man.
It was. I have them on occasion. I'm not known for many, but I have a few. So yeah, Metal Hammer Doom podcast is going to be pretty awesome. So I guess we should pretty much start talking about Dream Theater. Now, me personally, I am not a huge Dream Theater guy. Like, oddly enough, I have 2 of their albums, but something about the longer nature of progressive metal tends to make listening in the car, which most of my metal is done in the car. It's not as much fun for me personally listening to metal in the car. Now, I will say I have a huge respect for them as musicians. Everybody in the band is like astounding. Even when they get rid of somebody, they seem to find somebody good, if not better, depending on who you're talking to. No, I will say a few months ago I went to see Dream Theaters live in Luna Park, like the first night of that being streamed at a movie theater over in Winston, and it really changed my outlook on Dream Theater because I was just blown away. It was me and about 10 other people just all chilling and having a good time. And, I didn't know a single fucking song they played. I know like 3 or 4 Dream Theater songs by heart, and they didn't play one of them. So I was kind of disappointed with that, but it was just such a really great and engrossing time, and it really made me excited for this album because when knowing this album was coming out, I was kind of psyched for it. I was like, okay, I'm excited, but after listening to that, I was like, fuck, I got to get into this album right now. I am like Bill Cosby and a cup of Jello pudding, just. And it turned out going up. And it turned out working out pretty well. So I guess just starting off, I guess I'll switch it up a little bit. I'll start with the Dream Theater fanatic. Why do you love Dream Theater so much, Calvin?
Well, they were the first band that I really found that got really both me and my dad, which have been into prog for a long time, into the genre. And I don't know, these guys are just so technical, so profound. You can see, like, John Young, for example, has, like, 6 other side projects, and Portnoy at the time had, like, 5 others going on. I don't know, it's a good way to find a lot of music through just one band.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
They're just badass. They're heavy. They got their sad little soft songs going on at the whole time. It's really impressive.
Yeah. I've come to find bands that have a lot of different side projects tend to be the most fun. Like, through Opeth, I've gotten into so many bands like Porcupine Tree and Bloodbath and all those other
good choices.
Oh, yeah, dude, great choices. Like, stuff like that, like, I've come to find, especially like a band like Dream Theater, which I honestly didn't know they had so many projects. I know Portnoy had 14,000 projects, and James LaBrie has his own solo stuff. But I didn't know about the rest of it. That's cool. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, well, hey, even the Metal Master can be taught a thing or two. But, so what about you, Sean? Do you dig you some Dream Theater?
Yeah, they're one of the few progressive metal bands I actually follow and try to listen to a lot. I was excited for this album as well. I've quite enjoyed listening to it over and over in the car, ironically. Well, you know, when I come from work, I have like a 20-minute drive, so you can get part of an album out by the time I get home, so it's a good thing. I love Portnoy's Rush influence. That's where I got it from. Just him, just listening to Rush and him going, hey, I love Neil Peart. He was my big inspiration or whatever, and I kind of just started listening to him randomly one day. And then I played the Pull Me Under on one of the Guitar Heroes or whatever, and I was hooked after that. So, and I love that whole CD where it's like our greatest hit and like 21 other songs that we have or whatever it is. They are able to put so much into just not technical. Like, I love the fact that even their ballads that you have other prog bands don't even touch, they just get all technical and screw ballads, stuff like that. They can even make a ballad technical, beautiful, and so many things. So it's like this album and so many other albums, it's hard to find a song that you can't just go, I don't like that song, because you find something great about it, because they're just that good.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I actually got into it was the first time I listened to Dream Theater was Rock Band 2, Panic Attack. Still one of my favorite songs to play on the plastic bass. Yeah, plastic bass was where it's at.
One of the most difficult songs too.
It was a bit of a finger sore, but hey, it was fun. I always enjoyed playing bass more than guitar because sure there was some stuff that was really difficult, but it was really more kind of a rhythm thing rather than watch my fingers go.
Yeah, exactly. You don't feel like you're breaking yourself as much playing the bass.
Yeah, it's not as much effort. Oh, no offense to you, bassist. One of my best friends is a bassist. So, but yeah, Dream Theater, man. I guess we should go ahead and get to talking about this new album, a self-titled album, nonetheless. I was kind of surprised they went with that because I would have honestly figured they'd have had. Yeah, I don't know if that's ballsy. Is their way of saying this is what Dream Theater is, maybe?
I think that's what it is. I think that's a little bit of a stab at Portnoy. Because it's like, look, this is Dream Theater from now on. Like, we don't need you. Like, I don't know. It's kind of lame to have a self-titled 14 albums in.
That happens, though. There's a lot of artists that they wait to have their self-titled album when they can't think of an album name, or they just want to have it named that this time, or whatever it is.
Yeah, Killswitch Engage has 2 self-titled albums. That's
really
their first album and their 5th album. Yeah, they have Lazy. 6. Like their first 2 albums.
So what do you call one of them?
One of them I call Killswitch.
One?
I call the first one. Self-titled one, and what's the other one? Here's self-titled too. What creative?
Does it have a color so you can like name it by the color?
Well, I mean, yeah. One's blue and the other one's kind of blackish gold. I just call one Kill Switch Engage and the other one KSE because that's just how their name is abbreviated. So why not? Just cheap ass. But yeah, I did see probably that was a stab at Mike Portnoy. Like I like Mike Portnoy. The guy can be a bit of an asshole, but you know what? He is who he is. He's a talented guy, and
Yeah.
He
deserves to have an ego at this point.
Oh yeah,
I mean a well-deserved one.
Yeah, Calvin's a Portnoy fanboy, so.
Yeah, man. You know, in this newest album, I really am impressed with Mangini because the first album he appeared in Dream Theater, it's like he was not as impressive as Portnoy had been with like fillers and how technical it could be. And in this new album, it's just incredible. They just like, here, let loose.
Here, buddy.
Yeah. They just gave him all the free roam to just swing his arms around, and he makes every bit of that worthwhile. And he talks about it in a video. You know that little scan thing?
The what thing?
QR code?
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, there's a little QR code like on the inside of the CD, and the inside of the CD case. You can scan that, and it'll go to a video of Mangini talking every second of the last song on the album.
That is actually really cool. Like I've heard of people using those codes as like, oh, find out the dates and times of this movie at this theater by scanning this on your TV. But I've never heard of that. That is really neat. Huh. But yeah, when I saw Mangini on that live at Luna Park, he had a drum solo, and there was one part he was playing it with one hand, and I'm like, you've got to be fucking kidding me. This guy's a damn ham. It was just ridiculous how fast and technical he was going. I'm like, okay, I can, because the guy beside me was actually was much more into Mike Mangini. He's like, yeah, Portnoy's never in. He can never keep the beat. I'm like,
what?
What the fuck? Oh, yeah. The guy who was sitting beside me was like a huge Mike Mangini like fanboy. Oddly enough. I didn't know that was such a thing.
Cool too.
Yeah, like the dude's like he's like, yeah, Portnoy was pretty good. He had a problem with speeding up too much, but he was still pretty good. I'm like, yeah, cool. You know, whatever works. But yeah, seeing him on that live that live video was amazing. I'm sure you're gonna go pick it up sometime, Calvin. But their live in Luna Park DVD was amazing.
Yeah, I hate that I missed that.
Oh yeah, you had to work because somebody couldn't figure out a schedule.
Yeah, wonderful world of 7-Eleven.
Dude, I totally was gonna go visit you, but I got lost. I couldn't figure out how to get to Lexington.
You got lost?
Problem is coming to Lexington.
Well, yeah. Well, the problem is I got lost. My GPS got me lost because I was trying to find a way to get from like Winston to. I didn't even know where the damn I didn't even know where the damn 7-Eleven was because it wasn't in the GPS. So I just tried looking for anywhere around where it was, and I ended up like in the other direction. Ended up in downtown Winston instead of Lexington, which is like a good 15 miles the other way. It's brilliant. Like I am awful.
Don't you love
it
when the GPS doesn't do what it's supposed to?
Oh yeah, there was once in a marching band when was it a caravan that had like our drum tech and the what were they, the flag twirlers, their coach and stuff. They were all huddled in a SUV, and the damn GPS got them an hour and a half behind. Yeah, we finally got one once my mom printed off Google Maps, and it told me to take a turn. It told me to take a turn towards West 5th Street off the highway. I'm like, I don't know where that is. So I was in Lexington trying to find the Shriners. You know, the guys with the fezzes and the little go-karts. They were selling chicken.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so I guess without further ado, I guess we should go ahead and get this thing started. I don't want to hold everybody too far. So yeah, the first track off the self-titled album, here is a nice instrumental, False Awakening Suite. Okay, so starting off with you, Sean. How did you feel this did as an intro to this new Dream Theater, the definitive Dream Theater?
I thought it does its job. It's definitely something that like gets you into the album. I felt like I was listening to like some kind of a, not to bring it into video games, whatever, but I felt like I was listening to something I'd hear like in an RPG or something to kind of like get me amped or whatever, like some kind of battle theme music or whatever. I just love the instrument. It's pretty much it's what you get from Dream Theater, like just the instrumentation, the way that they go about it. It sounds like some kind of, it's apropos that it's Halloween. It's almost like one of those, it's not scary or anything, but it can get to that point. Very like thematic, almost Wagner type classical prog metal stuff. It's great.
Yeah, I agree. What about you, Calvin?
Hey, I totally agree with all of that. It's it got my blood tingling as soon as I put that in my CD player in my car. It was it did have like a thematic feel to it. It was like, oh man, something's looming over the horizon, getting ready to just pound into us. It's awesome.
Yeah, I definitely think that was a very good explanation of how it sounded there, Sean. That was good. I dug it. I did really feel like the beginning of some like almost like a Final Fantasy-esque journey. It was different than I expected because, as I said, I don't know Dream Theater very well. I have a few albums, but I haven't really gotten too much into them to where I know everything that's coming. I was expecting almost more of like a shred fest for some reason, kind of them to start out like, not a total shred fest, but like more of a progressive shred fest. But here, that was so symphonic. It just blew me away because I was like, no way. This took amazing prog metal and put a symphony, and just like you said, it was very bombastic. It sounded very almost looming. It was just really good, and it impressed me and got me really excited for the rest of the album. And I must say that I'll be saying this towards the end, but I feel like this is the most, out of everything I've heard of Dream Theater, this is definitely the most accessible I've heard of them. What do y'all think? You think this is the most accessible, or do you think maybe there's a better starting point that I've missed? No? Okay. Well, no, I was just asking, like, the both of you, if either of you can...
Well, it's something that, like, especially when you get to probably my favorite song on the album, Through the Looking Glass,
mm-hmm.
It's probably the most poppy kind of ish. Like, you could hear this on metal, hardcore rock radio. I could hear this on, just regular rock radio, and I wouldn't know it's Dream Theater because it almost doesn't sound like something they would normally do. it sounds like something that they almost made to, like, let's see if we can get this on the radio, and it sounds so just like a really good, well done rock song, but it's so well done that I don't, knowing a Dream Theater, it's just, sorry, that's why it's so great for me as my favorite song on the album, because I just sat there and listened to it. I'm like, I get the whole point of the song. I feel there's a message. You get it. It's instantly identifiable. I mean, if you just listening to that on the radio, you go, okay, I get this. It's good. You know, it doesn't have to be this complex thing that I feel like I got to sit there and listen to for a while to get. You know.
Yeah, I totally feel you. Yeah, there were some parts here that I was like, okay, this is a bit poppy, but not in like the insulting way, like, oh, the new Miley Cyrus song is on the radio. This is really poppy, as in generic and just watered down and really just peddled to the masses. It was really just kind of, they made it much more accessible. Like, it's not like they watered down any of their ideals. They just went to another place of their style that made it to where it was more accessible to people who wouldn't necessarily be into hearing a 20-minute song at the beginning of the album. Kind of like, you know, Rush has a few hits that hit the radio, and it wasn't that they betrayed their ideals to do so. It was they just managed to have some songs that were a bit shorter and kind of had a bit of a nice hook to them and were catchy and fun and memorable.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's another reason, because Through the Looking Glass sounds like Spirit of the Radio.
That it does. Anything you have to add, Calvin, before we move on to the next one?
Well, I mean, it's most of the stuff I've heard off of this album kind of takes it back to, I don't know if you guys have heard the albums 6 Degrees of Inner Turbulence and Train of Thought. How
I have not.
Some of the songs on both of those kind of did the same thing, where they were trying to, like you said, make it more accessible. Like shorter songs, and at the same time, it's like heavy all the way through. They didn't do the tempo changes and make it just real complex. And that's great. That's a great idea for them to do that in this album.
Yeah, can't argue with that. So next up is the second track off the album, which I'm pretty sure is the lead single. This is definitely the first one I heard, and the one that definitely got me excited for this album. This is The Enemy Inside. cut off on the epic keyboard solos.
I know.
I couldn't run that anymore. That was going almost over 2 minutes, and I can't let the whole song play. Well, I mean, I can, but that'd be bad podcasting and possibly illegal. So going to you, Calvin. What did this make you feel, especially as a lead single for this album? What do you think of this song as a single, and what do you think? How does it fit into the album? What do you think?
I thought it was great. It was like just so smooth coming out of that like really epic intro into something so heavy for them. Like you can just hear it in the instrumentals. Like you can headbang to that song.
Oh yeah, dude, headbanging all day. And that is
exactly
something
what I was gonna say.
Yeah, it's something I've noticed with Dream Theater. Maybe that's one of the reasons I haven't gotten to them as much because Calvin knows me. I love a good headbang in public. I don't mind. Yeah, I like a good headbang, and I've found Dream Theater to be maybe a bit softer, but that's because they're a prog rock band, and prog isn't necessarily the heaviest of genres in nature because it's more technical, and when you get heavy, sometimes you sacrifice that technicality for more beefy sound. Ooh. So,
you get a little bit of both in there. Right when you cut it off, you started getting into the prog with the keyboard solos and all that stuff, and then before then this is why it's a lead single, because you could play this on a rock station, and somebody that's not a prog fan, but this sounds more like it should be a heavier rock sound, like kind of a something you'd hear more from what you hear today on rock stations, where it's that hard with the guy ready to moan or scream or whatever. You get that at the beginning, but it's just so crisp, so clean. It's Dream Theater, and then you get into the prog stuff, and you're like, oh, I didn't think that was a prog song. So they get the keyboard stuff.
Yeah, it reminded me a lot of the first song I heard off of Clockwork Angels by Rush, which is their latest one. Headlong Flight was probably one of their heaviest songs I've heard. It started a little differently. That song was more kind of more classic rocky, more progressive, and then it gets heavy. It just kind of reminded me of that leading this album in terms of promotion with a single that's much heavier than what the listeners used to. I feel like it's a good sign, especially if you're one of those guys that's been like, oh man, I've been really wanting a heavier Dream Theater album. Well, there you go. It's great advertisement in my opinion. But did you have anything else to add? I'm sorry I interrupted you, Calvin.
No, you're good. That pretty much punctuated it.
Ooh, yay, exclamation point. What about you, Sean? What do you think? What do you think about this song?
Yeah, I mean, it's something that beginning intro, like, sometimes I'm not the biggest instrumental person. So, like, at first, like, when I figured out it was an instrumental the first time I listened to the album, I kind of skipped that first track. And then I went into this, and I was like, wow. Thank you, Dream Theater, for switching your sound, because this is great. I mean, I felt like I got a little bit of everything in one song, and that exemplifies why I love Dream Theater, because they have no problem changing it up. And even the, getting the whole message of the song, the chorus, everything, it all worked. Just the keyboard solo still gets me. Just great stuff.
Yeah, and that's one thing I know about Dream Theater. Not only do they switch it up, they can switch it up. They have the talent, they have the will, and pretty much they can do whatever the hell they want because they're just that damn good. And because I'm pretty sure isn't most of the band from Berkeley? Yeah. Aren't they, Calvin? Aren't they? Yeah, because I know...
like 3 of them started were.
Yeah, and then LaBrie's Canadian ass came in later, I'm sure.
Yeah, they had a different vocalist for the first album. Also, they've had like 3 different keyboard players.
Keyboardists. Yeah.
Yeah.
In the guy now their best. Like that's what I hear.
Yeah, Jordan Rudess, he's a prodigy. He started out real young playing for like the Dixie Dregs.
Oh, okay. I noticed he's like older, like that beard. I was like, oh, maybe he dyed it. And I'm like, he's 56. Well, fuck.
Yeah, man, they call him the Wizard. And
I know.
Well-earned title, too.
Yeah, really. I saw him come out with a hat on that live DVD. He came out with the damn Fantasia hat.
Oh,
it's
really?
like, yeah, I was like, oh, he's a wizard, Harry. Yeah, that keyboard solo gets to me because I am honestly not a keyboard guy because that is, well, it's not I'm not a keyboard guy. It's just I don't listen to many bands that have many keyboardists, or at least a very prominent one. I'm more for like your thrashy or deathy stuff, and I don't hear many thrash metal bands with a keyboard. Though if there is one, you should totally send it to me. It'll be great. But I was just blown away by how damn proficient Mr. Old Man Wizard Jordan guy. Yeah, he's fucking awesome. And I've noticed most of the band's a bunch of hams too. Like you've got Petrucci, who, as some people noted during the live DVD, if you notice his mix goes up as the DVD went on. Like he just kept getting a little bit louder, like after each song. It's like, well, he was producing it, but like he's a ham. LaBrie's the singer. He's got to be a ham. You got the damn keyboardist is like eyes on me, and then the damn drummer's a ham. It's a good thing the bass player doesn't ever talk. It's good.
It's funny because he doesn't need to. Like if you divert your attention from everybody else and look at him, it's like, how are you doing that? He's playing a 6-string bass on average, right? And he'll play a 12-string bass and make it look easy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he definitely shot up my favorite bassist list, because my favorite bassist is Steve DiGiorgio, who is fucking awesome, because he plays a fretless bass and can do like 30-second notes in his sleep. Oh, I love Steve DiGiorgio. But yeah, Dream Theater is just immensely talented. I'm sure anybody listening to this already knew that. Hell, anybody that knew this was prog, there's not many big prog metal bands that aren't talented. This isn't like, in some thrash metal bands where they kind of skirt on the fact that they can play fast. No, this is prog metal. You got to have the chops or you better leave.
Exactly. Well, that's the whole point of prog, is you're technical and you're all about having just very symphonic and beautiful songs, and if you can't do that, you're not really doing prog.
Yeah, all the fretboard masturbation. Whoa. Yeah. Okay, I guess, y'all, do you two have anything else to say before we move on to the next song?
Yeah, pretty much one of the heaviest songs on the album, and if you get a chance, like, really just try to pick apart Mangini's drumming on that one. It's impressive. He's got so much extra filler where he didn't used to have it.
All right, well, there you go. There's something from a drummer right there. So, with that insight, we'll go through and look through the looking glass. There's never a good spot to cut off these songs. I feel like I have to do it right after the chorus, or else it's just going to go on until the next chorus, because I don't want to cut it off before the next chorus. I don't know. So, Yeah, Calvin, what do you think of this song? Do you like the kind of sort of the more going from a really the heaviest track on the album to, I would say, arguably non-ballad, the lightest track on the album?
It's probably not the lightest one, but it's definitely a good contrast because that's pretty much their style. If you listen to any of their albums, they'll go from something real heavy and drop it to something real light in the next song. And this one feels like the last two albums with how they've done their songwriting and LaBrie singing out the way he does. I don't know. I really like it.
Oh yeah. I like it when bands kind of go from the heaviest to a more lighter song, kind of shocking and blanching, as it would be called in cooking terms. Not that I know how to cook because my mom's afraid I'll burn down the house. But yeah, it's kind of, you give them something really hot and something really cold, and it'll kind of shock everything in place and make something nice and delicious. But speaking of delicious, what thoughts do you have on this song, John?
Sure, Alex Lifeson didn't come on and play the opening part of it? Because that just sounds like Spirit of the Radio, Limelight, or something. You can tell where their influence is from. And I like that. That's why it's a great thing, because it shows their range, it shows their contrast. Just the way that they sing the chorus part where he kind of gets into feels like he's kind of coming part of the song, and he kind of dips low and starts, I like how they kind of change the key there, and then they kind of go ramp back up into what you hear at the beginning when he gets back out of it. I just like the whole ebb and flow of the song. It's really good, and like I said before, it's something you could hear on the radio, and even if you didn't like Dream Theater, I would question you to tell me you didn't like them after hearing the song.
Yeah, I definitely heard the comparison to Spirit of the Radio in this. That's why I was saying it was more kind of lighter. It felt more like a prog rock song, because I know Dream Theater aren't totally prog metal. They have some prog rock in them, and I'm sure they can be classified as both. But like I said, I really liked the turn that it took. It didn't wow me as much as The Enemy Inside, but that's probably just because my sensibilities aren't as much towards the more prog rock side. But it was definitely a fun song. It was a nice one to be leading on, to be leading on from the more heavy side of their stuff. So unless you two have anything else to say, I don't. Do you? No, nothing. No. All right. So. With that question gone, let's enter the Enigma machine. Okay, I gotta call it there.
Oh, that was like you're getting to the best part.
Well, see, that's the problem. If I keep going, I'm going to have to wait another minute or so, and then it's going to be like 3 or 4 minutes. And I know the FCC and the listeners are both going to be like, come on, hurry up already. Because the FCC won't let me be and let me be me. So let me see. Okay, with that Eminem reference in there, Sean, what you think? I think I'm in this.
That keyboard solo.
Oh, the keyboard solos. Was this the instrumental on the album? I'm pretty sure it was.
Yeah.
No?
Well, this is another one. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I was trying to remember because so many instrumental breakdowns. It's kind of hard to remember which one's the actual instrumental. So I'm assuming your thoughts on this album, on this song, was that damn keyboard solo.
Well, just right where you started, where it started to get like really amped up, where he starts going hard on the keyboard and whatever. That's where it really starts getting good after that. Just fantastic. It shows you exactly how great they are from the beginning, where it's pretty much that's your Dream Theater. That's your prototypical, like, how Dream Theater kind of intros their songs and whatever. And then you just get the technical of it. It Dream Theater the entire freaking... If you love just hearing technical stuff, then listen to this, because it'll wow you.
It will blow your pants off unless you're not wearing them, and then maybe your socks. Maybe. We'll have to see. I am wearing socks, which is weird. But yeah. Dude, I'm always wearing socks. It's just weird. I haven't had time to take the socks off. So she said.
You had enough time to take the pants off and not the socks.
Well, yeah, it takes less conscious thought to take the pants off. But anyway, speaking of less conscious thought, what do you think of the song, Calvin?
Oh, I love that segue. Anyway, I love it. I'm a huge fan of the instrumentals they've always put out, and that's really my biggest thing in the prog. Mostly the instrumental aspect of it, but it's great. It's like the song tells a story without needing lyrics. I don't know. You kind of get like this like up and down with the song throughout it.
Yeah, but it's one thing, especially a good instrumental can. I don't want to say can make up for the fact there's no lyrics, because that automatically assumes that it is less than a song with lyrics. It can definitely take you on a journey, and it can do a much better, more vivid job of doing so. And it gives more room for creativity as well. When you have a really good instrumental versus a really good regular song, now they're both great, but a good instrumental can really just lets you go on a ride, kind of like like classical music. You listen to some classical music, you can get some Fantasia shit out of that.
It's like takes your imagination places that you wouldn't go just listening to lyrics and trying to make themes out of that. You can make your own theme, which is the instrumental. Yeah,
you can make scenes from a memory. Aha, reference. Yes, reference. Yeah, it does a really good job, like I said, just like classical, and especially being I'm in a class that's teaching. It's about teaching music to elementary school kids. Fun class, by the way. We talk a lot about how using music to really let imaginations kind of flow out, as well as using music to kind of reinforce things, like oh, we're learning this song, we're learning about this book. Oh, why don't we play a song that has to do with the book? It does a really good job of helping reinforce things, and a good instrumental can really stick with you. Now, sometimes instrumental's not quite as catchy as, let's say, a really good song, because I find myself singing good choruses all the time. Now, good instrumentals, I will be whistling it for a while, but not nearly as long. But yeah, it was just a really good, solid track, and it, like I said, it makes me want to go dig those 2 Dream Theater albums out from my CD stack and play them. Because I have 50 CD stacks of stuff I need to listen to, and I'm never going to get to. Oh.
Yeah, you should put them on the top of that list, man.
I probably should. So I'm pretty sure we got all that done. Do you have enough time for another song, Calvin, or do you have to go to work?
Yeah, I'm actually going to bail, so I had a little bit of info for you guys.
All right.
That this album was released on September 24th, right?
Right.
It sold 34,000 copies in the first week and landed number 7 on the Billboard's Top 200 chart. Yeah, that's their third album to reach top 10, which is awesome for any prog band to even make it on
awesome for
Billboard.
any band. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Especially if you're not a popular band, like a popular music band, because I remember in my column I mentioned, I'm like, wow, they got to number 7, which I remember Black Clouds and Silver Linings got higher, but it was still really impressive that a prog band could get that high in these days.
Yeah, there's
well,
incredible
I would
hype
consider
behind
Dream Theater one of the popular prog bands.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying they're some underdog, but it's still pretty impressive to see even in a downturned economy with rock and metal being really given the biggest shaft out of every genre that, we can still pull as in metal as a genre. I count myself because I write about it. Yeah, bitches. Like that we can still manage to pull off like good feats of like 3 albums in the top 10 of Billboard. That's really unheard of for most metal bands. Yeah, especially now. Like, yeah, you've got your Metallicas and Megadeth has done it with their past 3. Yeah, with their past 3, and I think maybe not even Slayer's done that. So yeah, it's a very small list, especially when you take it. Yeah, you're funny. Anybody listening to this, if you haven't listened to that podcast, go listen to that, because it's me and Mark just ripping that album a new asshole. But when we get shitty music, it's fun. That's going to be great. But I don't want to hold you anymore, Calvin. So thanks, man, for being on here. Thanks for laying your Dream Theater knowledge upon us.
Hey, appreciate you having me.
Yeah, not a problem. If I can think of anything else you'll enjoy because next year we're not going to have any new podcasts really that aren't scheduled till next year, because we got a special and then we got our end special. So yeah, 2014, I'll find you some prog. I'll bring you on.
All righty, cool deal, man.
All right, buddy. Have fun. Have fun with the Slurpees. Peace.
Oh yeah, peace.
So yeah, that was. I hate to let him go, but gotta let him go.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, but like I told him, 2014, because we got mine and Mark's special, and then we got our year end before Mark takes December off. Another month without us. Oh well. So. Yeah,
are you gonna try to take it over for December again, or? No.
Him and Sean are doing. Sean Garmer, they're doing a Long Road to Ruin every Tuesday.
Okay.
Yeah, they're doing.
They got to wrap up the year, right?
Pretty much, and then we're going to be doing stuff until March, which I'll let Mark tell you why he's going to be gone from March until about June.
Jeez.
Yeah. Well, no, trust me, it's for a good reason. I know why. I'm just not going to let the cat out of the bag. Yeah. So from March until June, pretty much, I'm going to be running this. If him and Robert Winfrey allow me, which I don't see why. I do okay work. But we'll get to that at the end of the podcast. So for now, let's just look at the next song of the album, The Bigger Picture.
Long before the colors start to bleed, I can see the painting come alive, clever like an angel in disguise, moving in and out of reach. If the candle lights this crooked like a lighthouse steering through the haze. I will find the river through the rain, and I'll reach the water's edge.
There we go. This was a much easier cutoff time because this was kind of a ballad, which ballads aren't exact. It was kind of a ballad. Yeah, it was a ballad, but Dream Theater's ballads. I'm not hugely familiar with the band, but just judging by what I saw, by what I've heard, as well as what I saw in that live DVD, their ballads are definitely a lot different than, let's say, a Poison ballad. I mean, the two are really, you can't compare them because you have a pop metal band versus a prog metal band. But really, just showing the approach between the two is why I think this band is far more superior. I mean, what do you think? Do you think this is pretty much the best way a ballad should be done?
Yeah, it's orchestral. It's beautiful. It's not like trying to, as you would say with Poison, where you're just really trying to pull at the heartstrings of the ladies. This is just like trying to pull at heartstrings of everyone and trying to, just kind of get a message out there and a theme, but it's still just Dream Theater. It's still got the technical stuff. It's still got, pretty piano, and, he takes it from the keyboard to the piano, and it's still great. And you still feel like you're listening to a song as opposed to something that's just kind of like, oh, I want to screw you, I listen to this. That's not what you're getting here, It's just a pretty piece of music that kind of puts a slower tone on the album that, at that point, I think it kind of needs it.
Yeah, it was a very nice, breather in comparison to like a lot of the stuff where you had like a really bombastic and epic intro and then a heavier song. And then we get kind of a more rock oriented before moving to an instrumental. This is like a nice breather. This is pretty much the halfway point of the album, and it's a nice way of kind of just resetting everything, hitting the reset button and going, okay, guys, we're gonna kind of ease you back in. It's like when you so it's like elementary school, like when you went to lunch and then the teacher brings you in and you like read a book to kind of wind everything down, but then start winding everything back up by kind of engaging you, but not overwhelming you as to get you too excited and overwhelmed. It's a nice palate cleanser. Yeah.
Exactly. Good analogy.
Yeah. I love how I went back to elementary school for that one. Man.
I'm
good
just
old
trying
days.
to think of like elementary, and I'm like, I do think about that. They sit there and read you a book, and then they start asking questions about the book, and then they start, depending on what grade you were in, they would kind of send you back to the whole, start doing class stuff again.
Yeah, it's like, oh, okay, this is nice. I can remember in third grade, the teacher knew she wasn't going to be in class, so she sent me with one of the other teachers instead of letting me be with the substitute. It was great.
Why? Because you're going to make the substitute's life hell or something?
Yes. That is the exact reason why. I have a bad habit of doing that.
All right.
Oh, well, what can I
since
say?
Third grade.
Dude, since I was born. Who are you kidding? I mean, if the hell I give Randall as any indication, I just do it with him because it's just fun, because he's a good sport. Even though I haven't mentioned like the Virtual Boy or Doctor Who, or I don't know, maybe that temporary scoring system really did train me well.
Yeah. Oh, wait till we get to watch the 50th anniversary special. Then we'll all be talking about Doctor Who.
Oh yeah, especially if we get Jeremy on weekly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's.
Hopefully he can come on now that we're having him. Oh, but I think his day off is on Saturdays, so maybe he won't.
Shit. We'll see. Maybe I'll bug him once this is done. But yeah, with that tangent, trust me, this isn't the worst tangent. Like once me and Mark got on a 15-minute tangent, with that, like half the time when we get to the end of an album, it's tangents, and then we listen to the music. So, all right, I'm pretty sure we've summed up everything we have to say on this. So now let's take a peer behind the veil. I keep cutting it off at the keyboards. That was almost 3 minutes. Yeah,
I haven't even gotten to the chorus yet.
No, and I think that might be the problem with doing prog, is those really long intros. Like, this intro here was fucking awesome.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I felt like I was like, okay, we're going to like Lord of the Rings territory at the beginning with like this, real soft, almost like the intro to a movie, and then, da-na-na-na-na, oh, great. And then they just keep building and building and building it. You haven't even got to the, best part.
Well, I mean, hey, if I'm playing the best parts, do the listeners really have any incentive to go out and buy this album? Nah.
I guess you're right. But then you should want to hear it like for yourself. I mean, you can listen to it on Spotify and stuff. But, if anything, if you do, the only good thing about playing the best part is you go, oh, man, I want to listen to that in my car. I want to listen to that in my headphones or whatever, So
I mean, we've still played some awesome stuff. Like hell, all that stuff from The Enemy Inside was just great. Like it wasn't too bad. It's just with a lot of this prog metal, like almost every one of these songs is 6+ minutes. I can only cover so much.
Yeah. Except for like the one right before the suite at the end. That was like less than 5 minutes, barely. But that's probably because they knew they were going to play a 22-minute song at the end.
Yeah. I think really this kind of proves our theory of at the midway point really calming everything down, because this song kind of went with that theme at the beginning. I think it was a nice hangover from the last song to, it's like, okay, now we're going kind of quiet, and then it's like, now we're back in class. It's something like that. It shot in the system.
Too, when it gets to the chorus, so it's not like fully there, but you get a little bit of up and down again. It's probably another one of those songs I really enjoy on the album.
Yeah, it was one that I trying to think, was it in my top picks on Spotify? I can't quite. No, it wasn't, but it was still a really good song. It was one. No, wait, yes, it was. Sorry. I'm going off of memory, because if I open up Spotify, I don't want this computer to explode.
Yeah.
Yeah, this song was a really nice mixture of both soft and loud. And like was stated earlier, really, Dream Theater is very good at that. And I can just dig more of that. It makes me want to go dig up. I'm trying to remember the two I have. I think Constant Motion. The one that has Constant Motion. I have that album, and then I have Awake, because I got Awake at a pawn shop for $1. And you don't pass up metal for $1 at a pawn shop.
No.
I mean, that was one of my legendary hauls. 5 CDs, Iron Maiden, Megadeth, Queensryche, Dio. Oh, so good.
That's why I used to love about Hastings, and where I used to live in Texas, man. You can go in there and get, I think I could get like 6 or 7 CDs for less than $50. And people would sell stuff that just came out like a couple of weeks before then. They'd come and like, I guess, trade it in or whatever, and they'd be selling it for $10, or not $10, but like $6 or $7. I'm like,
oh yeah,
hey, half the price. Okay.
There's a used bookstore called Edward McKay around here. You can get some amazing stuff. Like, I'm gonna try to go back there tomorrow, because they have this Lord Gore album, which is really rare for $1, because they don't know that it's really rare. And hopefully nobody picked it up. But yeah, I love cheap places. Like, I know almost every pawn shop in like 15, 20 miles. All the pawn shops, the Goodwills, all that stuff. But I must say, if you want really cheap, go on eBay. eBay is very dangerous. That's how I ended up with 2 stacks of 50 CDs. Got some Christmas money. I'm like, I got $100. There we go. But yeah, enough of my bragging about my cheap assness. Nobody wants to hear that. What people really want to hear is I know that's how shows like was it American Pickers? Yeah, that's how shows like that run. Yeah. That one, and the Antique Road Show. Okay, well that's really the opposite. That's how Pawn Stars run, because people want to see how much their bullshit's worth.
Yeah.
And that's how we end up with people trying to sell NES cartridges for $50. Dumbasses. But enough about that. I think maybe we should have a nice time of surrendering to reason. Yeah, so here's track number 7, Surrender to Reason.
In moments of pain, where heart and mind collide, Reflection helps me decide. I believe the sacrifices in life give more than they take.
Well, this time I
Oh,
cut
right
it
up
off
with the
on guitar.
solo.
Well, this time it was guitars.
Yeah.
So I decided to give the shaft to somebody else. Oh well. I'm pretty sure once we get to Illumination Theory.
Yeah, you're gonna have to cut that, man. You can't play 22 minutes.
Yeah, I'm trying to. Hell, I hope we get some music before 3 minutes in, because if we don't get 3 minutes, I'm like, I can't do it. But yeah, Surrender to Reason was another track, kind of like the last one, that mixed. That I think really this is like the Dream Theater sound kind of knowing what I know about the band, which is very little, I admit, compared to like
even better than the last song where they go real quiet. But it's him singing, and then they ramp it up, and then it kind of gets into this almost like a rock song kind of thing with the chorus. And just great, just pretty. It's Dream Theater, but they just that whole tempo changing thing, they do it just so well here, and it doesn't even sound like the song really deviates. It's just you almost, if you're not really looking for it, you almost don't even notice the change that much. They're just that good.
Oh yeah, I know. Listening to this is, trying to keep track of everything. I kind of got lost in it. I'm like, oh shit, I need to be paying attention to this. Oops. That's right. That's where everybody's coming here for professionalism, because we got it in spades, aces, hearts, and that other suit, clovers. I forgot about clovers. Oops.
Oh well.
This is why this isn't a poker podcast. Well, no, that's the video game podcast, because every time we mention Red Dead Redemption, I have to mention my 3-hour marathons of Texas Hold'em. That is the only thing that Red Dead Redemption is to me, is poker and shooting people.
At least that made sense. Not like they added DLC to Final Fantasy 13 too, and you have the guy play blackjack and poker just so you can see a secret ending or whatever.
That's dumb. Why didn't they bring back that game for Final Fantasy VIII?
I don't know.
I know some people love that damn game. I forget the name of it.
Yeah, I love it too, but Square hates reusing things.
But that'd be a beautiful callback. Like, oh, what do you know? They play it in this universe too. Cool. Oh well, Square hates their fans.
Yeah.
That's why they wouldn't allow that Chrono. That's why they didn't want that Chrono Trigger remake or sequel. That Randall
No,
still.
because they don't want somebody to tell it in their face that they can show them how to make a sequel. But Square's just too lazy.
Too lazy and too busy calling everything disappointing.
They're
never
got
gonna
off on a tangent.
They're never going to live that down. But yeah, that was a good song, even though we did kind of tangent. Like I said, when me and Mark, by the time even, I think our worst podcast was that Children of Bodom podcast, where he was trying to find a comic book the whole time, and my cat was going to die, so I was depressed.
Oh,
that one was bad, because like most of the songs, like, you know, for the first 3 or 4 songs, we're like, yeah, this is really good, and by like the last like 6, 7 songs, like, yeah, it was a song. I'm like, yeah, I really like this album. Yeah, it's a song. But yeah, I guess moving on to the penultimate track, the calm before the storm, if you will. I guess we're for the song, we're just going to be along for the ride.
Moment works fail me, and my vision's unclear, blind to the truth, like hands reaching out in the darkness. I can't stop the world from turning around, or the pull of the moon on the tide. But I don't believe that we're in this alone. I believe we're along for the ride. I believe we're along for the ride. Through the gift of surrender, I'm embracing the fight.
This is one of those songs you just like wave your hands. You just, you know, like you're in a trance. All right.
Yeah. Oh, it's a beautiful song. James LaBrie sounds amazing, considering how damn long he's been in music.
Yeah, that just sounds. That's just so good. You know, for like it's a ballad, but they just happen to add some kind of chug to it, and it has weight to it. It's not just like the other song that's way more ballady than this, but it has a place where you can just kind of sway and just listen to it. And it's something. It's less than 5 minutes long, but it's something I felt like was needed for the album, because it's, like you said, calm before the storm of this huge sweep that's coming. But you don't know that yet.
No, if they're listening to this, the fact that this is a Dream Theater album and they haven't heard a 20-minute song is probably distressing some people.
Yeah, especially if they hear this and they're going, what is this? Is this Dream Theater? It sounds like another kind of rock band or something.
Oh, I think they'll recognize it. I'm pretty sure they have like a lot of ballads. Like they played like 2 of them alone on that one concert, and I was like, all right. I mean, it's like I said, it's beautiful, and it was just well done. And honestly, if it would have went on another 2 minutes, I'd be along for the ride. That'd be cool.
Yeah, that's the thing. You feel what they're singing about in the song. That's what you feel while you're listening to it. It did a fantastic job of matching that. You feel like you are along for the ride while you listen to it. Great.
Yeah, it just reaches your heart, and then you got to make bad puns. Yeah, well, hey, I'm all about bad puns. They They make my soul feel good. Okay, so with everything we've said about this album leads up to this point, the Illumination Theory, the 22-minute juggernaut of nut-smashing justice.
Mm-hmm.
So here it is. Let's hope we get vocals or instrumental sometime in the next 3 minutes. There, you got your keyboard solo in, and we got some guitar work.
Yeah.
Woo, keyboards! This is a massive track. Like, it really is.
Yeah, it just has everything.
Yes, it is the submarine sandwich of progressive goodness.
Strings and choir and
So I must say, like, a slight complaint for me is that that middle section with the choir and the strings, while I loved it, because I am a sucker for string instruments,
yeah.
I felt like it could have been cut down a minute or two.
Oh, that's what prog access always is. It always feels like it could have been.
No, I was about to say, well, I mean, this is coming from a non-prog. Like, I'm pretty sure if Calvin were still here, he'd be like, oh, man, I wanted it to go 10 minutes longer.
Yeah, I know, exactly. That's how I felt. I was like, oh, can we just have this part till like 5 more minutes?
Yeah, but, you know, honestly, all in all, even that section, even though, yeah, it was a bit long in my eyes and ears, it was still astounding. It was a very nice section, I thought. It was, even though this was 22 minutes, this is far and away not this is far from the longest song Dream Theater has ever done. I know that for a fact. They have a 42-minute song. Yeah, 42. Though it's still not the longest. Some damn band had a 6-hour long song, but I think they were just trying to be cute. So yeah, what do you think about the Illumination Theory? Anything? Any huge?
Just awesome prog goodness. If you want to see and hear, or basically if you want to hear everything Dream Theater can do, and you have 22 minutes to just sit around and listen to some awesome music, listen to this. You know?
If you are taking a power dump and you need one song to get you through it.
Yeah, exactly. The entire time that you're going to be on the pod. Yes,
if you are going to be, if you have either food poisoning or a Taco Bell dinner. I mean, I always make jokes about Taco Bell, but I love Taco Bell. It's good. I would say it's good shit, but it's actually really bad for you. I know, coming from the man.
Talking about that was terrible.
Coming from the man whose bloodstream is 3/4 Mountain Dew. But yeah, this is a massive.
As much Mountain Dew as Jeremy Thomas or Tony Estero.
God, I remember there was one time it was the one about AJ Lee dating CM Punk, and I'm like, and somewhere in the world, Tony Acero read this news and a tear fell into his Mountain Dew.
It's so true.
Yeah. Jeremy's picture of amazing cans and cans worth of Mountain Dew is impressive, but the back seat of my car is actually much more impressive because, like, when I finish a can, I'll just toss it behind the driver's seat. Why not? Because I end up collecting them at the end. I end up collecting everything at the end of the week and smashing it, and then I take it to a metal recycling place, make money. It's pretty great. Though I haven't been in 6 months, and I have four giant bags, which is like $5 each. So like $20 worth of aluminum can in my backyard. It's bagged. It's black bag, so don't worry. I don't live in the redneck trash heap, even though I might sound like I live in the red.
Yeah, do you just have like the cans?
No.
There, like you want people to see the cans?
It's my stamp of glory. Damn it. No, I my mom once told me, she's like, we need to get a can crusher. I'm like, woman, I got size 13 feet for a reason. That's I just smashed the stuff on the front porch, toss them in a black bag. There we go. Got 4 big ass black bags full of cans. So there we go. So yeah, that is I guess that's a good way to sum up the Illumination Theory. 4 big ass black bags of prog metal.
Might fill up more than 4 bags.
Yeah, it's more than 4 bags, but it's still worth $20. Yeah, I guess maybe the fact this is just such a large track, it's really hard to pinpoint what you loved about it. Especially if you only listen like me. I've only listened to this album twice. And it's lucky it's gotten that, because I have almost 70 albums to listen to before the middle of December. Yeah, I'm not going to finish that.
Wow.
Yeah, well, last year I had 600 songs to get through, and I only made it through like 350 in 2 months. Oh, we'll see. We'll just see how this goes. I get off in the beginning of December this year, so that's all right. Got a whole month off to listen to metal. And sleep till noon.
Nice.
Lots of sleep. Yes. I know the life. So I think that's really sums up this album. Sleeping till noon and lots of metal. Now, I know I personally enjoyed this album quite a bit. It's not in my top 10. It probably is in my top 20, but it is a really good album. It's got some really good points. There's some really great heavy songs. There's nice ballads. There's great middle sections. There's a nice prog ballad. There's a good instrumental. There's a great intro. This is really, like I said, this is a very good stepping on point for anybody really wanting the Dream Theater, an accessible Dream Theater experience. Because I know some of their stuff, like what turned me off, like 42-minute songs. I'm not listening to that. But this, a 6-minute song that's nice and heavy about, the enemy inside, that's great. I feel like it's just really well structured as well. I think sometimes song structure is everything. Like, that's something me and Mark have been through. Like, you know, they put all the good songs in the beginning, and then we're just shitting on the middle because it's just not that great. And then by the end of the album, we end up going from I like this album to it was okay. It does a much better job of pacing the band and pacing themselves and everything. But enough of my rambling. What do you think? What are your final words on this album, Mr. Garmer?
I think if, you know, you're looking for something just where it's balls to the wall Dream Theater without, you know, the stuff in the middle that we got on this album, you may not enjoy this as much. But if you know what, I think this is if you've never listened to Dream Theater before and you want to get everything that is Dream Theater in one album, this is the album. You get a little bit of everything. You get a bit of what they can do when they're at their technical best in Elimination Theory. You get when they want to be heavy, they can be heavy. You can get their ballads. You can get their mid-tempo stuff. It just has everything included. So if you're a big Dream Theater fan and maybe this is not like, you don't feel like you need this kind of thing because you know this is what Dream Theater does, I feel like they might just be hitting the reset button and saying, okay, not that they're going in a different direction, but saying, here, people that don't know us, here's something that anybody could listen to and enjoy Dream Theater.
Yeah, I'd say that is definitely a great way to put it. Like, maybe this might not please some of their hardcore fans. Maybe they wanted more 40-minute songs. I don't know. But in terms of meeting both the expectations of the hardcore fans as well as people who have no clue about the band and casuals, like I'm a casual with Dream Theater. They're like, you know, there are some bands you are a hardcore fan of. Like I'm a hardcore Megadeth fan. Super Collider withstanding. I am hardcore into them. But like Dream Theater, I'm like, oh yeah, I know these songs. Yeah, I listened to that album. It was pretty good. But I'm not like, oh yeah, I can't wait to hear the solo on Metropolis Part 1. I'm like, nah. I'm just like, eh. It's good stuff. Which, you know, it is kind of funny being a casual fan of a genre that is so vast and technical, and really the fans are so hardcore. Like in my column last week, I talked about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and how Yes got a nomination after campaigning from like a head campaign guy from what was it, John Kerry and Al Gore. Like that, the head campaign manager of those. Yeah, it's basically like a big Democratic campaign manager, a big Republican campaign manager, like the former head of something in the White House, and then the former president of NBC got like all together and got Yes a nomination. I mean, it was just awesome, and that really is like the prog music fans, in my opinion. They are like almost as hardcore as the damn Kiss Army. They are insane bastards.
Oh, I'm so happy that Yes finally got a nomination because they deserved it for a long time. So yeah, I'm one of those Yes big time supporters. So yeah, I don't care if it took a congressman or whatever the heck it is. The fact that they got nominated finally, and if anybody has any care for what real rock is, they should get in. Of course, there's plenty of bands that should have been in a long time ago that, I mean, we can name off.
Yeah, Iron Maiden.
If we're calling this a rock and roll. Yeah, Iron Maiden.
Judas Priest.
Deep Purple.
Motorhead.
The fact that Deep Purple and Motorhead are not in is just a travesty.
The fact that Deep Purple didn't get in last year was a travesty. They even had the sympathy vote going. Because John Lord died.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad Rush finally got in.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think they got in through the fan voting. Because I remember, I think they were fan voting. Now, Hart got in. That was cool. But, I say the way we fix the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is call it the Music Hall of Fame and stop bullshitting everybody.
Yeah, I mean, and there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, you know, it's like the WWE Hall of Fame. There's not just WWE guys in it. But
I mean, yeah, you got Antonio Inoki. Yeah, he held the WWF title once, but nobody fucking remembers that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, but it's not just that. It's that, they try to appeal to a mass audience and whatever, because you can't just have rock and roll people, and at the end of the day, I guess almost anything can branch into rock and roll depending on how you want to phrase it. But it's still, like, if you're going to talk about rock and roll acts that made genres of rock and even music to that extent, you've got to include some of these guys, and it's just amazing that it takes years and years of campaign. It's just so stupid the way they do that. So stupid the way they do the Rock and Roll thing.
Yeah, it's messy. Like NWA, I have a huge respect for them, and LL Cool J, he seems like a nice guy. They have no business being near here. Hell, neither did Madonna. I don't like Madonna very much, which Mark gives me hell for, but I'm like, nah.
Yeah, I mean,
sorry.
I'm not a big Madonna fan, but you have to give her props,
Yeah, I give her respect, but I'm just like, she doesn't deserve to be near.
But LL Cool J has done rock stuff.
Well, so has Ice-T.
Yeah, I mean, but Ice-T deserves more rock plaudits than LL Cool J.
Yeah, where's the induction of body count? Exactly. Mark loves to pride himself on being the only white boy on his block that knew who Body Count were. But yeah, okay. I think we should go ahead and start wrapping this up because I know we're 30 minutes over the overrun already, so we don't want to overdo it. So plug time. What do you have, Mr. Garmer? What's happening in the Sean Garmer world of podcasting and writing?
Well, the game's top 5 this week. I don't know if you've looked at I just made it pretty much almost like right before we came on to do this. It's all about launch stuff this month since, the PS4 and Xbox One are launching. So I asked you guys to come up with a top 5 successful system launches, and you can go read in there. There's a bunch of different ways you can think of what you think of as successful. So if you want to go in there and try to see if you can come up with a list, go ahead. And then I think I'm this is another week where I'm not doing anything on 411. So it's just I got the Rusted to the Max podcast on. I post it inside the game's top 5 every Friday. It's also on dirtsheets.com, and you can find it on Stitcher, iTunes, TuneIn, Zune, all the other places. And we reviewed Hell in a Cell and talked about TNA being up for sale and
I'll buy it.
And all that stuff. You'll buy it, right?
That's right. I'll wager my $3,000 in student loan debt. I think that'll pay for it. It's IOUs.
On my Football to Football podcast, we did a 2013-14 NBA season preview.
Spoiler: LeBron
the
flops.
Entirety of the show. What? Oh, LeBron flops. Yeah.
Not as in his team loses. It's just he's going to flop a lot.
Yeah.
I think there needs to be a new Olympic sport where you have best flopper, like put him and Dwight Howard, have a
the soccer players and the basketball players and the football players that fake injuries, put them all together.
That's still one of my favorites. The ones of the Giants last year, where the guy's walking and he's like, and then the coordinator's like, fall down. He's like, oh, and just falls down, clutching his knee. Oh, it's so bad. But hey, at least your team's in the division with the Giants, you lucky bastard.
Yeah, man, we should have beat the Lions, but
Hey, I was cheering for you. I had Joseph Randall on my team. I lost to Lialos by 20 points when I had Josh Gordon on my bench, who scored 23.
I was hoping you'd win. We need somebody at the top there to lose.
Oh, somebody at the top to lose? Lambert will lose eventually, I'm sure. Especially come week 7.
That'd be true. Well, especially this week, Peyton Manning's off, so maybe he will.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, and I hold the number 2 passer in Phillip Rivers, who's going to be my starter now because Matt Ryan had 9 points. Fucking threw 4 interceptions.
I also lose Calvin Johnson, so my team's probably going to take a hit. He got like 40 points just last week.
Yes. But yeah, that's there's a preview of the Cooperative Multiplayer podcast right there. We talk video games and fantasy football.
Yeah, because Randall's also in our league, so actually we're all in the league. So
everybody but Jeremy.
Talk about it.
God, if we get Jeremy back, like we should be like, okay, Jeremy, go take a nap. Come back in 30. Like, yeah, we'll let him. We'll let Randall talk Dota, and then me and you can talk Pokemon, and then we'll talk fantasy football, so we can leave everybody out of something.
I still want to get a 2DS just so I can buy Pokemon.
I do too. But oh well. So is that everything for your plugs? You good?
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. So I do other podcasts. Who'd have thought? Most of them are on the Radlich and Broadcasting Network now. Thank you, Mr. Mark Radlich. You are a scholar and a gentleman. Awesome. So the first one, which is one I'm editing together right now to set to post tomorrow, the Sentai Rider podcast, where we talk Kamen Rider, Super Sentai, Power Rangers, Ultraman. We might hit Godzilla eventually, stuff like that. The tokusatsu genre. Episode 3, we talked Kamen Rider Wizard, the finale, and how even though the show had some really good points, it was mostly a bland series. Don't you just hate that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I hate it when that happens. 53 episodes, and they still manage not to get the main character having much character development. Thanks, guys. Thanks.
Wow.
Yeah.
2 seasons worth of nothing.
Yeah, it wasn't nothing. There were some bright points. It's just a lot of filler. Boy.
Yeah.
Filler. Yeah. I mean, filler can be good. I've had that conversation before.
That's exactly what you want when you're investing 53 episodes into something.
Oh yeah, well hey, the current series right now is 4 episodes in, and I'm loving it. So here's to hoping it's the Warring States era mixes with breakdancing and fruit. Can't ask for any better than that, because this week we're recording the episode, the first 4 episodes of Kamen Rider Guy. It's great. So tune in for that for next week. The Three Beards podcast. Last week we did Kevin's birthday episode where he managed to eat 22 Rice Krispie treats in 3 hours. That was great.
Wow.
And we get the it was hilarious. They were on sale apparently. But we go from talking about random bullshit and a man marrying his dead girlfriend to politics. We get stuck on Obamacare, and I pretty much go silent for 30 minutes. But it's not that I don't have an opinion. It's just like in that podcast, the problem is like I'm not very loud on here, so I end up just kind of being I can't get my headphone mic to work anymore. But I'm not very loud, so really I'm just interrupting on the podcast and not really entering the conversation. So it's just better not to interrupt. But
don't get me started on Obamacare. I got lucky, and apparently I didn't even know that my wife had applied for Medicaid, and we apparently got it, because I was freaking out like, crap, something else to pay for. I don't know how the hell I'm going to pay for medical insurance all of a sudden.
Nice. But yeah, we went into that because of Kevin's like a huge libertarian, like hardcore Ron Paul guy, and our guest Alexander's kind of like the more liberal sort. So we had that, and I was just on the outside making a joke about how the Republican Party's like Metallica against Napster. Yeah, I was like, I haven't seen a large group of people lose so many fans since Metallica went up against Napster. Hi, doggy. So yeah, that's that podcast. The Cooperative Multiplayer podcast has now switched from Tuesday nights at midnight, which will mean Tuesday going to Wednesday, to Saturday nights at midnight, which is going to be Saturday going into Sunday. But it's still a great podcast. You should listen to it on Stephen Randall Spreaker, as well as listen to his TWNE After Dark podcast that comes on tomorrow, which is Wednesday night at about 11 p.m. Eastern Time. And it's usually that every week. My column, the Hammer of Doom News Report, which Mark still hasn't gotten the name right, but it is now moved as well. It went from being a Sunday early Monday to now being a Monday early Tuesday, because it's much easier for me to get writing done on Sunday, get some done on Sunday and all of it, the rest of it on Monday, than try to cram everything on Sunday, because I'm a bad procrastinator. So that's there. This week was pretty solid. I talked about the some fans getting their throats slashed at a Deicide concert. pretty grisly, but it's a thing. And besides that, next time, 2 weeks, me and Mark Radlich are doing a podcast that everybody needs to both listen to and try to be on. You want to guess what we're reviewing, Sean?
What?
Saint Anger.
Oh, I need to be on that.
Oh, it is going to be glorious. Like, because I was like, hey, Mark, it's going to be our 1-year anniversary of doing this podcast. Do you want to do top 5 albums all time? He's like, yeah, I don't really have a top 5, but we could do it. And then after listening to Sean Comer and Robert Winfrey do theirs, because Sean Comer's talking about, this whole year we've been doing this podcast, I've always wanted to do Hellraiser. I was like, what have we always wanted to do on the Metal Hammer of Doom? We've always wanted to do Saint Anger. So, shitty albums make for great podcasts. So in 2 weeks, you need to jump in and listen to that because it is going to be anger and shit slinging to the nth degree, and it is going to be amazing. So after that, and then 2 weeks after that, we're going to do our wrap-up special, our top 5 albums of the year. Kind of early, but it's kind of necessary when you consider him and Sean Comer are doing a Long Road to Ruin every week. So with all that said, I'm going to shut my monkey face, and I'm going to play metal. So for Sean Garmer, my buddy Calvin Seacreast, who had to go work at 7-Eleven, I am Mr. Robert Cooper, Mr. Funtime himself. Just come back in 2 weeks, or actually come back here next week for Sean Comer and Mark Radlich doing Toy Story and the Long Road to Ruin. But in 2 weeks, come back here for Saint Anger. So until then, I'm going to partially steal my co-host's catchphrase: be well, be safe, behave. But just to remember, keep the metal faith alive.